Hey all, I am Julia from Relatable Nonprofit. Today I am joined by John Gaddis, a rising nonprofit consultant who has been doing some amazing work building his business from the ground up. We're going to be talking about what brought him into the Relatable Nonprofit Mentorship Program, what shifts he's experienced, and where he's headed next with his business. So, John, let's start with where you were in your nonprofit career before joining the program. What were you hoping for? What felt unclear or hard at that stage?
Sure. So I think when I joined you guys, I had been sort of freelancing, doing contractor work for a couple of years. Mostly one or two have been former W-2 employers that I had transitioned to 1099, and I really enjoyed the variety that gave me and the flexibility. But at that point, I kind of wasn't quite sure how do I pivot this into an actual business? I kind of didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know. So I wanted to have a little more structure for how I could build out a more sustainable plan.
And tell me, since joining, can you tell me about a win, big or small, that you're proud of? Maybe a client, a proposal, or some clarity around your niche?
I think there's been a couple. I'd say for me, really clarifying my niche, I think that's been really, really helpful. I do a lot of work in like fundraising space, but more on the back end of kind of operations and databases and systems. And my background is as a musician and music educator. And so I've worked primarily with arts and arts education organizations. And I sort of realized that there is a real need there for that type of organization to have someone with this skill set, particularly smaller organizations that maybe can't afford like a full-time employee with the requisite experience or skills, but could really benefit from like a fractional sort of a relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. And have you had any mindset shifts that you've experienced since starting the program?
I think the biggest one is I don't have nearly as much of a kind of a zero sum mentality. I think like one of the best parts of this program has been getting to meet other people in my shoes. I think it's one of those endeavors where it can be kind of a lonely one. So you don't always get a lot of opportunities to meet your colleagues in a way. And so getting to meet people who are doing something very similar to me, working in really similar niches, has been great because I just see that it's it's really more about, for me at least, it's been more about reaching out to my existing network, like learning how I position myself to people I may already have some sort of connection or relationship to, and that there's just the pie is much bigger than I think I initially thought.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I know a lot of people love the networking capability. So tell me about the other aspects of the program, maybe a lesson or template, a coaching call. I know we have the Wednesday live sessions you come to. Anything particular that stood out to you that was like really helpful or had helped you have like an aha moment in your business?
I don't know. There's been a lot of really helpful templates. I think I feel like I said I didn't know what I didn't know. Now I feel like I don't know it, but I know what I don't know a little better. So the templates have been really helpful for that. I think one we talked about it fairly recently in a live session, but I had done the previous recorded one as well about pricing your services. And that was just really helpful of thinking, especially about trying to move away from an hourly rate to more of a value-based pricing, which
Mhm.
I think makes sense. It definitely makes sense for me as the consultant, but it also makes sense for the organization too. And just having a little bit of a framework around how you would build out your pricing and how you would think about that in terms of how many clients you need, your future planning. That's been really, really helpful.
Great. We have a lot of people who we talk to who are considering joining the program. They're maybe already consulting, but they're just not sure that they're ready. What would you say to someone who's on the fence about joining and about starting or growing their consulting business because they feel too new, too unclear, or just not ready to take the leap?
Yeah, I mean, some ways I felt like I wasn't necessarily ready when I joined. I'm really glad that I sort of took the leap. I remember saying even when I joined, I was like, I'm joining now. I know I'm not going to be able to have time to look at the materials for a couple of weeks, but I'm going to do it now. So if I don't, I feel like the opportunity may pass me by. and I'm so grateful that I did that. It's been a crazy year for me, so I haven't been able to throw myself into it as much as I would have liked. I'm still working basically full time, but having the weekly sessions, being able to network with people, being able to kind of poke my head in to the different templates, like I was saying, different resources, has really helped me to start to build out my business a little more slowly than I would have liked, but this is probably year 3 of me being a freelancer, and I recognize that having this structure in this course has allowed me to get so much more done than I otherwise would have. And so I'm really grateful that I did. I feel like there's kind of a lot of value for someone in my position who maybe doesn't have the time to go just all in immediately, but can be thinking about what they need to do. And that's been really, really helpful for me.
And you did just mention that you signed, I think, 2 new clients recently. So I think you are growing, just maybe not as fast as you'd like.
Yeah, I won, I think that was like just a month ago. So 2 new ones. They were both kind of loosely through my like existing network. They were both in the music education space.
Hmm.
And yeah, neither of them they were really not on my radar necessarily. It was like I was not even trying to pitch them, but I had just been creating a little more visibility around what I do. So it was great. It's the sort of thing where it's like I am starting to get more work and more interest, and I have not been able to put a ton of effort into marketing myself. So it really makes me optimistic for like when I really start to lean in a lot more to that side of things, what I can get done.
Yeah, absolutely. So zooming out a little bit to the bigger vision for your business, where do you see it going in the next 6 to 12 months?
I think, let's see, in the next 6 months, I definitely want to sort of have all of my forward facing materials totally done, polished. Right now, I have a website that is a little more bare bones than I'd like. I've created like a one sheeter, have a LinkedIn that's I want to. Our most recent session was about optimizing your LinkedIn. So I'm looking forward to kind of digging in and applying all that stuff that I learned. So I think within 6 months, it would be great to just have all of my marketing materials just in place and have begun really reaching out to my entire network. And I would hope within 12 months, I've started to build out a little bit more of a pipeline. Right now, I am in a position where luckily, I have enough work, but I have not always the time to build a business more or build out the pipeline more. So I'm hoping within a year that will be something I've completed.
And can you give the audience a quick snapshot of your consulting focus, who you help, and what you do?
Sure. So my focus is on helping like small arts and arts education nonprofits with their fundraising systems. So I would say a lot of that is around either setting up a CRM, helping them find a CRM, choose and implement it. Sometimes it is helping them transition from an older CRM. And it's also looking at their existing workflows and seeing what can be automated, what sort of tasks can be consolidated, and what information they have, particularly with their donors, what sort of information do they have there that that's not really informing their fundraising practices. So working a lot with really small teams who maybe don't have the capacity to do some of this stuff in-house, or they have a CRM, but they don't quite have the comfort level with reporting and building out new campaigns or integrating it with different other systems like their email marketing or what have you. So that's the primary focus, is kind of helping these small arts teams get the most out of their systems and implement new ones that might help them save time.
Thank you so much for sharing, John. Can you please let us know where can people learn more and connect with you about your services?
Sure. So my website is jgattis, so jgattis.com. And my name is John Gaddis. So you can find me just on LinkedIn. It's probably another great place to connect.
Perfect. Thank you so much.